Joe Biden in a head-to-head matchup with Governor Ron DeSantis loses, according to a new poll. Donald Trump, however, well, let's do it this way. We made this prediction months ago that if Trump runs for president, it is the greatest thing to happen to the Democrats, because the Democrats will be excited to vote against Donald Trump. However, that only works if Donald Trump wins the Republican nomination. In this latest poll, it shows very clearly that right now sentiment is adverse to Trump and aligned with DeSantis in this poll. Polls are not predictions. They are snapshots, however, of current sentiment. Obviously, that can change. So let's get into it. Let's put up the graphic full mass here. A new poll shows that the governor of Florida would defeat Joe Biden in a hypothetical 2024 matchup, while the president would prevail in a rematch with the former president, Donald Trump. Trump is currently the only declared candidate for the White House in 2024. He announced his candidacy a week after the 2022 midterms in November. It was a disaster. DeSantis is keeping his cards close to his vest, while Biden has said he will announce a decision soon. It is unclear if the controversy surrounding Biden's handling of classified documents after his time as VP will weigh in on whether or not he runs for reelection. Now let's be very clear about the context of the Biden classified documents. From day one, I said if he was in possession of classified documents and he had absolutely no clearance to be in possession of those documents, that means there needs to be an investigation. Well, conservatives, they get that. They understand that part, no problem. Well, if you believe that, you must also believe that Joe Biden having a handful of classified documents is a no-no. You have to also agree that Donald Trump having a truckload must be a no-no as well. That Donald Trump deserves to be under federal investigation. If you're saying that Biden is compromising the security of the nation, you must also conclude that Trump has done the same as it relates to this country. Investigations should move forward, all right? In a new poll released by WPA Intelligence said DeSantis leads Biden among likely voters while Trump trails his White House successor. A survey conducted from the 2nd of January to the 8th among 1,035 likely voters asked them a series of questions about the three political candidates. Respondents were asked whether they viewed each of the three favorably or none. Trump was the least popular among the trio. Trump was viewed favorably by 39% of the respondents, and about 60% not so much. That's a rating of negative 21%. The former president was the least popular among young and minority voters. Biden, meanwhile, was viewed at a rate of 45%. They were in favor of him, of likely voters, but not favored by 55% of the respondents. His net unfavorable rating was negative 10%. So let's go to DeSantis, all right? So here it is. So DeSantis, in this same poll, who was reelected governor of Florida in November, in a landslide victory, need to remind you of that, was the only candidate with a net positive favorability rating of plus 2%. 41% of likely voters said they viewed him favorably, while 39% said, no, we don't like him. Asked the same question in a hypothetical matchup between DeSantis and Biden. Well, voters picked Florida's governor over the current president by a 3-point margin. The result is within the poll's margin of error. WPA Intelligence poll reported a margin of error of exactly 3 percentage points, plus a negative. Now, I've said from the beginning, anytime there's a poll and that poll shows a conclusion within the margin of error, that means you can basically throw the poll away. I'm going to qualify this poll differently, okay? because this is not really a poll about being president. We're too far away from the presidential game in order for this poll to be about presidency. This poll is really about current sentiment. This poll is about the negatives connected to the Biden administration. And no, it's not the classified document stuff that basically neutralizes what they had against Donald Trump, political power, so to speak. This is a problem. Now, we've been saying, in order for Democrats to get out of this position of reaction, always reacting, not leading, always responding, and not creating opportunities for them, for the opposition party to go into defense, because they have not done these extreme things they talked about doing, and we say extreme based on the context of Republicans, because they did not get it done. I'm talking about the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act or the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and we can go on and on, because they did not do what they campaigned on after Republicans said their agenda is extreme and their agenda is communist, radical, because they were able to win the messaging war. Understand where we are. Governor Ron DeSantis is polling at #1 in the United States of America today for president of the United States, and the man has not even declared he's going to run. All right, Max, thoughts here.
Well, thanks for having me, Dr. Richey. I think if you're the president, right now, the margin of error is not where you want to be. You want to be running 5-10 points ahead of your opponents. And it really shows, like you said, Democrats are playing defense even when they're winning. I mean, this is a president who has an opponent in Ron DeSantis, who's most famous for attacking Disney. And yet most Americans have no idea he did that. And it's something most people really don't like when they find out about it. And if I'm Joe Biden, I'm worried now that the things that I did in the last half of 2022, people just didn't notice. And now that things are gonna get even harder with a split Congress, there are gonna be fewer opportunities to post those kind of big wins. And it really feels like they've lost momentum here in a way that is giving people like Ron DeSantis an undue chance to jump ahead.
Yeah, so right. Obviously, that poll will fluctuate, but this is a problem today, and I hope the administration is dealing with it as such. Deliver President Biden, and those numbers change.